Okay, let's get started. Welcome everyone to our June Solidarity Session. I'm pleased to see so many of you here, and I think we're going to have an interesting session, and we're going to have an update from someone else at the end of the meeting as well. So I'm going to ask everyone, we do have a lot of people on the call today, so I'm going to ask everyone if you could just, as we do at the beginning of each meeting, introduce yourself, give your name, your city and state, and if you belong to an organization or representing an organization, just please tell us what that organization is. So I'm going to ask people to do that based on the way I see everyone on my screen. It's only the order that I see on my screen. It may not be how it looks on your screen. So we're going to start off with Frank Cipolla.
Oh, hello, everyone. My name is Frank Cipolla. I spent 38 years as a radio and television reporter and anchor in New York City, and I own Contacts Media. We have been working with the Italian American One Voice Coalition for years now. And getting publicity on the major broadcast networks and major market stations.
Thank you, Frank. You have some feedback going on. So, if you could mute yourself just now until I call on you.
I did.
A lot of echo.
Everybody else is.
If everybody could just mute themselves until I call on you, because we were getting some echo. Thank you. Okay, next up, Josephine, you're next.
Oh, hi, I'm Josephine Mayetta. I'm a member of One Voice Coalition for many, many years. And I'm also the president of the Association of Italian American Educators. And I produce and host the radio program at Hofstra University. It's called Sabato Italiano every Saturday from 12 to 2. And you've been my guest many times.
Yeah, and you're in New York.
Yes.
Okay, we're still getting feedback. If you can mute yourselves, please, until I call on you. Okay, Dr. Ann, you're up. Now you can unmute.
Hi, I'm Ann Walco. I'm from also the board member of One Voice and from Unico as well.
Thank you. Okay, Panfilo, you're up next.
Buonasera. I'm Panfilo Dicenzo. I'm one of the directors of the Native American Outreach Committee. Good to be here today.
And your location?
I live in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
There we go. Okay, next up, Jerry, you're up. You're muted, Jerry.
Sure. Let me unmute. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see everybody. Jerry Carleo. I'm with the Colorado Italian American Foundation in Pueblo, Colorado. That is the home of the first and one of the last remaining Columbus monuments west of the Mississippi.
Exactly.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you, Jerry. Dr. Peter?
Peter Cognetti, Scranton Unico, and Lackawanna County Columbus Day Association.
Thanks, Doc. Alfonso, you're up.
Yes, hi, Alfonso Amico, Garden City, New York. I'm a member of the Sons and Daughters, and also Queensboro Unico, and vice president of the Italian Heritage and Hope Foundation.
Thank you, Al. Anthony Benjavenga.
Hi, I'm Anthony Benjavenga, and immediate past president of Unico National, and I'm also on the board of Italian American One Voice.
Thank you. Nick Pirro.
I'm Nick Pirro. I'm the vice president of the Columbus Monument Corporation in Syracuse, and I served 20 years as the Onondaga County executive.
Thank you. Robert Ferragina.
Take it to another room.
Thank you, Andre. Rob Ferragina. I'm on the executive board of the Almerigo Vespucci Society based in Long Branch, New Jersey, and I'm logging in from the borough of West Long Branch, New Jersey. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Bob DiBiase.
Good evening, everyone. I'm a board member of the One Voice Coalition, chair emeritus of the New Jersey Italian Heritage Commission, and I currently have the Italian American Task Force. Thank you.
Thank you. Ray Venero.
Hi, Ray Venero, Belleville, New Jersey, Belleville Unico.
Thank you. Martha.
Unmute. Okay, I unmuted. My name is Martha Lanzalotti from New York, New York, and I just renewed my membership to One Voice.
All right, thank you. Okay, Vicki, you're up.
Hi, Vicki Maragliato, West Long Branch, New Jersey. Member of One Voice for many, many years, former board member and former past president of Monmouth County Sons and Daughters of Italy chapter and representative to Commission for Social Justice.
Thank you. Becky, you're up.
Hi guys, I'm Becky Anderson. I'm the president of the Native American Guardians Association, and happy to be on this evening. I do have to leave a little bit early. I'm also a parent liaison for my son's football team down at LSU, so I'll stay on as long as I can.
Okay, great. Okay, and now we got some feedback. If you could mute yourself, please. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got Becky, and now we're going to Andrew Liano.
Hi, my name is Andrew Liano. I'm from New York. I'm a member of the Order Sons and Daughters of Italy in America, and also a member of the Commission for Social Justice.
Thank you. Tony Santarelli? You're muted, Tony. You're muted, Tony. Tony, you're muted.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Tony Santarelli, Montvale, New Jersey. I'm a member of the One Voice Executive Committee.
Okay, Raphael, you're up.
Rafael Ortiz, author of several books about Columbus, including Christopher Columbus the Hero, South Carolina.
South Carolina, all right. Charles Lombardo. If you could unmute, Charles. There you go.
Thank you. Charles Lombardo. I live in Garwood, New Jersey. I'm the newly elected president of the Unico Greater Westfield chapter.
Thank you. Okay, and let's see. Crystal, you're up.
Hi, Crystal So here, calling in from, I'm a board member for Native American Guardian Association. I'm calling in from Navajo Nation in Arizona.
Very good, thank you. Eunice, you're up.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eunice Davidson. I'm a co-founder and the past president of Native American Guardians Association. I'm a Dakota Sioux Indian from the Spirit Lake tribe in North Dakota. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Frank Lorenzo.
Hi, everyone. It's Frank Lorenzo, Vice President, Italian American One Voice Coalition, and logging in from everyone's favorite New York City borough, which is Staten Island, New York.
Thanks, Frank. Miriam.
Staten Island. Frank, isn't that where you are?
Yep.
Correct.
Go ahead, Miriam.
Miriam Restrepo with Unico and Greater Westfield from Woodbridge, New Jersey.
Okay. Let's see. Did I miss anybody? We're on two screens, so I have to shift back and forth. Mike Guarneri.
Mute. Hi, Mike Guarneri from Connecticut. I'm a member of the Italian American Defense League, and I'm also the father of Matthew Guarneri, who you probably know. And he's got a board meeting tonight, so whether he makes it to this meeting or not is in question. So I guess I'm the best you get.
Well, we appreciate you being here, Mike. Thank you. And who is the person on that 610 telephone number? Do you hear us? Okay.
Am I on mute now?
There you go. Now you're up.
Okay, sorry, I'm a Techno Zero. Cara DeLeon from Easton, Pennsylvania, Unico. And we also just joined Italian American One Voice Coalition, and I'm a personal NAGA member.
Great.
Myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tara. Okay, did I miss anybody? By the way, the people that are on the phone that I'm not calling on you. I saw Tara's number up there and I recognized the number, so I let her come in. But is there anybody that we missed? Okay, if not, we're gonna go right now into our guest speaker. Both Becky and Eunice from NAGA had introduced me to our guest speaker and had some discussions with him, and he's got an interesting story about not only his nation, but also some stuff that he's done with Columbus, that he's looked into with Columbus. So I'm going to turn it over right now to Chief Tecumseh Brown-Eagle as our guest speaker tonight. Chief, welcome.
Greetings, everyone. Excuse me. A lot of allergies up here. I'm chief of the Erie Indian Moundbuilders Tribal Nation. We've done extensive research on the Americas and beyond. And one of the reasons that I'm here and to be a part of this is I don't like the stripping of American history. I definitely don't like the stripping of Columbus. Like it, I can't even comprehend someone to like, okay, so let's erase Columbus and let's erase the Americas. Okay, so no history from Columbus, no history about America, and that won't work. There's so many lies about Columbus, it's remarkable. And we researched and found those to be lies and some things myths. All right. So a lot of people want to blame Columbus for, let's say, total genocide of Native Americans or the Americas. Okay. One person in the late 1400s, right, responsible for that. That's a myth. All right. One of the things, if there was not an infusion of people from other parts of the world, our gene pool would be different and we probably wouldn't be on here arguing, or definitely because we would be different people if Columbus didn't arrive. Okay. Um, so the thing that bothers me is that the true relationship that Columbus had with the indigenous people, other than the fakery, is that when he on the fourth voyage, he was sent back to Spain in chains, and they blamed him for a bunch of stuff. It was found out to be not true. Okay, so and he was released. All right, but the fact of the matter of what and why and how they say or slander him is not fair. Okay, now we're the mound builders. What is a mound builder? Through our research, and people can, everybody has their story. They have a story of the flood and creation and a bundle of things. What we have is that we built mounds. Okay, we're what you would call the ancient Sumerians, and part of in that word is the Marukans. Okay, it would be the ruling kings, so to speak, or the strong kings would be a termination. Now, so one of the other reasons, and I'm not going to be on here too long, is that it is so bad of the libel and the slander against people of Italian descent. Unbelievable. I mean, it is very, very bad um, for the things and the perceptions. It's ridiculous. I lived and traveled pretty much around the world, and mostly in America. I think that the other people are familiar with the history of the Italian people, the different inventions and government, including the Senate, the structure of the government, the artworks, and a lot of other things, cultural things that were not just limited to the people of Italy, but things that impacted the rest of the world. And this is where we're getting. A lot of people forget that um, they don't see Italy as being in the Mediterranean Sea and being explorers and seafarers. You see, as one of the professions and merchant all the way to China. You see, so when they go and look at um, the Italian people, that's not what they see. All right. Everybody knows what they see. First thing on their mind is something derogatory. Mothers and fathers in America. That's the first thing on their mind. And then alleged corruption and everything. And that's not true. I mean, I'm sorry, but you know, we have to you're going to need different groups and other groups and other cultures to complain what they're trying to do. One is with Columbus, two with how they're labeling Italian people. You have a rich culture. There's medicine. One of one of the things of medicine that people don't even consider is the wine and the way the wine is made. Okay, and that the women, okay, stepped on the grapes, and the grape peels and the grape seed is very high for your immune system, and it goes into their system, the women's system, and the women's um, from their system goes into the wine. So you're drinking basically antioxidants. Another thing that people seem to be jealous about is the good looks of Italian people. And that, I mean, everybody knows, the the being congenial of the Italian men and the virtual aspect of the Italian women. And it's not that somebody is stuck up or anything like that, but they have a culture and they have honor and they have respect. But that is not put forth in the general population. They don't look at that, and, it's a shame, but they're missing a lot. So what I've done, I'm talking about, and it started in 1998 and 99 that's when I found out about Columbus, that they lied on him. So I've been tooting that horn and trying to show comparison of, people spreading a falsehood and how it affects it. So it's like um, jealousy, envy, and greed that are attacking the Italian people. And it's a shame. Okay, rarely you find someone that don't like Italian food. Okay, so you like the culture, but how do you not like the people? And that's one of the things. So I've contacted a few people, some in Syracuse, some of the other tribal people that from other nations, including the Six Nations that I speak to, that we don't want to erase Columbus. We don't want to take Columbus Day away. Okay, that's the same people that they're just they protest everything. They've been protesting all the time, like for decades. They've been protesting. No particular group, but they just want to go against anything. So they pick Columbus, all right? And I mean, like, why? I mean, I hate to say it. You don't hear Italian people protesting at these universities not to want Jewish and other people in the universities. The people are busy. They like to work. It's certain people, certain cultures, certain groups have certain abilities, and we have to basically express them and allow those to be expressed. So my when I was thinking about this in Columbus, I'm not going to regurgitate the lies and the myths on Columbus, and the fact that the allegedly the two groups of people that would people would in their mind they would think that they would be more or less at the indigenous people and the Italian people or the people that support Columbus. We're not like that. Okay, we fight in U.S. wars just like the Italian people and everybody else. And like I said, I don't like that. Friends and family. I have friends and family, and I have people that we're family. Okay, and they're Italian. You, you see, and I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania. Okay, so one day, if you get a chance, you look up Erie, Pennsylvania. But we get along. We don't have problems. And yeah, we're a small town. But I think that if you get different groups, conscious groups, strong people, like the ones that's part of your part of the group, then from other cultures and racial groups and nationalities um, come together and to protest the fact that they want to do that. You see, I mean, it the lies that have been told is just remarkable, and it hurts. It hurts, especially if I'm with one of my friends. Here an attorney from a prominent one of the top law firms, and he confided in me that it was difficult to purchase a house with a vow on the end of your name in the county. And then I was on the Human Relations Commission for 22 years. And during that, it was someone was protesting having certain protections. And the guy was like, he didn't want the protections, and his reason for not wanting the protections is the actual reason why council passed that was because he said, "Look, we let the Italians in the county, and now look what happened." This was this was like not even 10 years ago, 2011. 15 years ago. So we have to change that. And I think it should be a campaign to change that. Unless they want to change America and everything, you have Columbia, Columbia River, you just have so much. And I just think that to erase history is wrong, and then to demonize a group of people is even more wrong, you see. And you know, I mean, what are you going to do? Only thing I think is that we stand up together and protest it. So I just want to say thank you. Anything that you need from me or our tribe, we're willing to step forward and help.
Well,
By
obviously,
you.
Well, thank you.
Chief. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Obviously, you're speaking to the people that believe what you say, and it's interesting with someone with your heritage to have really gotten so involved with looking into the background of Columbus. Okay, so for example, Rafael Ortiz, who's not Italian, he certainly has been doing a tremendous amount of work in defending Columbus. So I find it very refreshing to hear it from you. And Chief, you want to just give just a couple of minutes, a little bit more about your own background and your nation as well, just so that people know a little bit more about
Okay,
your
sure.
background.
Okay. My background is I was on the United States karate team, and I fought in Curacao, Aruba, Paris, Cairo, and Saudi Arabia, coast to coast, Caesar's Palace, Anaheim Convention Center, Colorado Springs. So I specialize in Korean form of the martial arts. So after making the U.S. karate team, I went back to the university at Ganning University, the #2 private Catholic diocese school in the nation. #1 is Notre Dame. So I was 33 and I played quarterback and free safety for them. Graduated with bachelor's degrees in accounting and economics, and I minored in secondary ed. I've worked for the city, the county, the federal government, accounting. I was an accountant for the city, and I'm a forensic accountant. Wow, I've been in the martial arts like 50 plus years, and let's see, I have one son. He's 14. In fact, he goes to St. Edward's in Cleveland, Ohio, which is private all boys Catholic school, of course. And but our tribe, what's unique about our tribe is that there's mounds all over Earth. And it was one group of people that the only group of people that's listed as mound builders, which is the Erie tribe. The word Ohio means hill or mound in the Seneca language. And Ohio has the largest concentration of mounds, and it's over 10,000 mounds just in the state of Ohio. So we say in our prayers all our relations because we feel that the migration and the building of mounds in different locations by experts or the builders of mounds and some of these structures, that the people that are left over, that we're all related. You can't, the oldest culture that they have on Earth are the mound builders, and there's mounds all over Earth. So, is it? I mean, how do you define that? Do you say, well, there's skyscrapers all over Earth, and but there's a group of people that actually built a lot of the skyscrapers, at least initially. Believe it or not, it was the Mohawks and the Italian people primarily that built the skyscrapers. But we're mound builders, we're builders. And so we genuinely feel that when we say all our relations, that we're talking about humanity. And we feel that we're holding on to those ancient teachings. Do as to others as you would like them to do unto you. And so, but at the same time, we have to stand up if there's injustice. If there's injustice, okay? And a lot of people, they define justice like they do something really, really bad. And then when something bad happens to them, then they complain and cry and say that there's no justice. But so we're different. In fact, when Smith made it to the shores of America, North America, he said some of our babies, they called us Susquehannocks back then, said some of our babies are born white. Some change colors and some don't. And some of the older people, and there's probably hardly anyone here that remembers when so-called Negroes, colored, black, mulatto, whatever they were called back then, would pass for white. And they would actually not have that in their DNA. That's what we do. So you see people light, brown, white, black, whatever it is. And we produce those kind. So we look at people, no matter where they are on the planet, as part of the human family. And we can't let that go, or we'll have a problem. But I didn't want to hold it too long. But if anyone has any questions, feel free to call me or email me, or any questions that you may have.
All right, well, let's open it up right now. Let's have a question. I have Nick Pirro has his hand up. Yeah, Nick.
Yeah, Chief, my name is Nick Pirro. I'm from Syracuse, New York, and we've been fighting for 5 years to maintain our Columbus statue in downtown Syracuse. Most of the attacks have come from our previous mayor and now continued by the current mayor that just got elected. There are the Onondaga Nations located in our county. They're part of the Haudenosaunee Nation. Most of the people involved with the nation have not taken a position. Orrin Lyons, the faith keeper, once said it's not really our job to be involved in that. However, there are a few people that call themselves neighbors of the Onondaga Nation who are not Native Americans, but have continued this war going on the statue. And so we continue to fight it over 5 years now. And you mentioned Syracuse before, and I'm just wondering if you have talked to any of the Native American leaders from the Onondaga Nation.
I have just earlier today, the former vice president and treasurer of the Seneca Nation, Arnie Cooper. Him and I, of course, we've been working together since 2001. But here's a fact, right? Now, I guess their focus or their underlining reason first is they want to renovate the area. Okay. Second is they don't want any remnants of Columbus or their perception of what Columbus mythologically stands for. Okay. But on that statue are some indigenous people. They can get in some big trouble, extreme big trouble with the United Nations by removing indigenous people's statues and artifacts. Even though the Six Nations, the Onondaga is part of the Six Nations, they try to do restrictions that they can't. Allegedly, they need America's approval because they're federally recognized to go to the UN and voice their opinion. But that's not true. Plus, if we look at the timeline, at the time that Columbus was alive, right, those Six Nations were on the other side of the Mississippi. We were the indigenous people of that area. And out of their mouth, and they'll tell you, they came over with the Delaware, the Lenni Lenape. So our thing is, since there's mounds in Syracuse and everywhere else, and we're indigenous people, and they're trying to erase our heritage, it can go as high as the United Nations. Of course, President Trump and that administration is a favorable administration now, but someone has to tell them, no, don't do it. Don't try to do it. If you do try to do it, then, you're going to end up in court.
Well, one of the, let me just add in there. Yes, we've got 9 lawyers that have been in court several times over this, and so far we've been victorious. But our lawsuit was premature, and so it's kind of right back to square one now. But when the statue was put up in 1934, Chief Jesse Lyons of the Onondaga Nation, the day after, made the sculptor Renzo Baldi of Florence, Italy, made the sculptor an honorary chief of the nation. And at the dedication ceremony the day before, 2 of the top chiefs were there. And in 1992, for the quincentennial, one of the top chiefs of the Onondaga Nation was on the committee. So they've been involved since day one, but we've got a small group of people right now, both a few Native Americans and mostly non-Native Americans, that have taken this up as a cause, and we've been fighting it for 5 years. So any help we can get is appreciated. Believe me, we're not going away. And like I said, we've got a great legal team, but again, it's more political than I think anything else.
So Nick,
why don't I
go ahead, Chief.
I'm going to send some information to Andre, right? And he can forward it to your lawyers. And that's one of many avenues that possibly can be pursued from our angle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest, Chief. Certainly, if you have anything that you want to connect, I can connect you directly with Nick, or you could send the information to me and I'll send that over to Nick.
Okay, that'd be great.
Frank Cipolla?
Yeah, first of all, we talk about this all the time. Real quick, when we talk about Columbus, most people don't know that he never landed in what is the United States of America, but somehow he has a bad rap because of what happened in the Caribbean. But it's important to note that he never landed in what is currently the United States of America. Number two, there's a great show on National Geographic called Aerial America, and they fly over each state explaining its history and culture and so on. And I've seen these mounds. While I have you here, Chief, what is underneath those mounds? Does anybody know? I'm curious.
Yes, they've broken into our mounds for various reasons. Some of them are burial mounds, some are temple mounds for rituals and initiations. Others are markers for traveling. Sometimes, not far from some of the mounds, there's another language that is found. It's called Ogham. I don't know if people have heard of that language, but Ogham is a seafarer's language. Back in the old days, and especially the black and white movies, they show people on ships with like a telescope, so to speak, as they're running flags up and down. The flags were like syllables, and so they were communicating with that. Well, they took the flags and they made the flags to have a correlation with certain leaves. How the structure of the leaf, like a maple leaf or oak or whatever, and that's how. And they wrote, so they were writing as though they were on the water, communicating on land like they would normally do on the water. Remember, there were different groups that, and in reference to that. So the mounds, there's temple mounds. There's also to they call it stoning. They call it stoning the land is what they call it, where they have to place rocks and stones in to mark territory. Okay, but yeah, primarily there's a lot of mounds and everything. The mounds are primarily directional and temple mounds. They're still the strange thing. They have like really bad tornadoes all over the place, and the mounds are still there. That's what's strange. Hold on one second.
Okay, no problem. Okay, and does anybody else have any other questions for the chief when he comes back?
I do, Andrew.
Sure, Doc, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I had an interruption.
No problem. We have a question from Dr. Peter
If I
Cognetti.
had a chance to Google mounds while you were talking, and I'm really impressed by the size of these things. They're some the size of houses.
Really?
It appears. Very impressive. No wonder they've stood the test of time. You're close to Ohio. You're close to Cleveland, say, in Erie. How did you guys react with the whole changing of the name Cleveland Indians?
Well,
we've had this discussion with the Washington Redskins and different
I'm so glad you
cancellations.
mentioned that. Excuse me for interrupting. I'm so glad you mentioned that. One of the people, his last name is LaRoche. When I was living in Cleveland, he visited me a couple times, and it was him and primarily Russell Means. There were protests. There were a lot of things not related to mascots or anything that was going on. The actual Bureau of Indian Affairs was under siege. I was in there when they were under siege. They had the security everywhere. This is not the big protest, but first of all, Cleveland, the word Cleveland is a Connecticut word, a name. They're from Connecticut, and they were given the Western Reserve because they originally wanted what was called the Erie Triangle. So what they did, they claimed it, so to speak. Now at Progressive Stadium, catty corner from Progressive Stadium is the street is called Erie Court and Erie Cemetery, and one of our chiefs is buried in that cemetery, Chief Niagara. All right, so we don't like that they take it away. Another thing is they had the mascot, and which is Chief Wahoo. I don't know if people are familiar with that. And they
Yes.
tried to make it like it was derogatory. That's people who basically want to erase us. Okay. But the word Wahoo in ancient language, it means and the creator and its creation. Like it um okay, let me go to my Hebrew. Elohim. It would be Elohim. It would be like equivalent to Elohim. So it's a spirit that we looked at that was protecting our area. That's one. On the Washington Redskins, that's even a stronger case, not because my a distant cousin played for him, but my tribe, and they called us by over 55 different names, was in that. We were in the colonial records of Maryland, May 16, 1661. And you all may have heard the term red bone. Red bone is like a light skinned person. Indian red is more closer to copper. So, but we have a wide range. So Washington Redskins, that hurts the most. Even though Cleveland is closer to me, it hurts the most because we literally saved George Washington's life when he was near Venango, Pennsylvania. He came up to Fort LaBeouf. So we saved his life. One of our chiefs provided security for him, and it's written by Sequoia's grandfather, Christopher Gist, that when asked, because George Washington was in the British military, it was asked where was George Washington, and it said he was with his friends, the Mingos, and there's not a Seneca among them. We were called Mingos, Minguas, a bundle of different names and things that we were called. So that that the Seminoles, I mean that it's not fair. Like you know, okay, okay. For instance, like you said, Columbus didn't make it to continental. Was called the United States. He went to Cuba. But how come the Cubans aren't considered Indians? He said con este indios when he was there. They were the first people that were called that. So, it's an eraser. They're erasing. And we were talking um, with the NAGA, and the Seattle Seahawks wins the Super Bowl. You the champions is named after one of our chiefs.
Right.
You see, and so you start with the most marginal group and you marginalize them, then you climb up to the next group and the next group. You have fighting Irish. We have here the fighting Scots. You have other groups, and nobody is erasing them, but they definitely, if they can't erase you, then they want to degrade you. I mean, it's a shame. Like I said, we can take it, we're used to it, but it kind of hurts when you see other people being discriminated against. It really is really bad, and you have to stand up for that. But yeah, that Washington hurt it more than Cleveland, and neither we can give them the authorization. In fact, the thing with NAGA is they have the lawsuits and there's injured parties. The injured parties are the people who really want the Native American names and the Native American history, the people that are from there. So you're hurting a couple groups. in a situation you have no authority to even have the discussion about. The state of New York, if anybody should be hush hush about Indians besides Pennsylvania, it is definitely the state of New York. All of their land is in question. From Manhattan, they bought it from the wrong Indians. It was the Manhattans, all right? They bought it from the wrong Indians. They broke the treaties with the Six Nations, so all of that land would normally come back, and then the inhabitants on that land, they won't be able to tax them, you see? And so, I mean, those are some of the things, but it's like a playbook, and let's call it what it is. you know I don't like to name certain individuals, but it was J. Edgar Hoover that didn't like us. Anybody with an I, he hated the Irish, he hated the Italians, and he hated the Indians. Okay, as simple as that. And all kinds of surveillance and everything was on those people. And if you didn't commit a crime, they'll commit one on your behalf. All right, we're not against the FBI, we're not against America. Okay, and so, you know, like I said, to erase us, um, the Americans. We used to be the definition of Americans, and then they added on the people who, immigrated to America and was born or citizens of America. It's now the Americans. But you're gonna erase the Americans, take all the Indian names away, right? So if another
Mhm.
group comes in, let's take all the English names away and replace them with French. I mean, that's what it looks like, and it's ridiculous. Now, I was guilty of doing that. I'm gonna give you an alert. A nerd joke is on the way. I was literally correcting Conshohocken, Wissahickon, in Ballykinwood. These are places in Philadelphia, and I was spelling it English, and it was spelled with English letters, native ways. So I mean, I was ignorant and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're concerned about that. But at the same time, and my family, my mother uh, won the Humanitarian of the Year award, and they named the award after her. She was the first one. So, and anybody, I mean, we had 58 spoken languages, and I don't know how many of them actually visited my family. I have Uncle Louie, Uncle Vinny. People literally for real, Uncle Tony, Uncle Frank, and stuff like that. And
I think we all have those.
We all do.
that, so, are we all related or what?
Right, right. Well, the
Okay,
chief,
so
chief, I want
Definitely are.
Chief, I want
yeah.
to thank you very much for being our guest speaker tonight. I really appreciate it. I think it was very interesting for people, and
Mhm.
certainly we appreciate everything you said about Columbus and Italians and your background and so forth. Before we wrap up, I do have one that I want to add to us. We've got an initiative that's going on right now in Colorado, and I'd like to ask Jerry. I just found out about it today, and I thought it'd be important for everybody to hear this today on this, and we'll take it after Jerry presents it. You'll be hearing more about it in the future. But Jerry, go ahead and finish us up today.
I appreciate that, Andrew. Thank you. So you guys are obviously intimately aware of the fact the last 30 years we've had nothing but a high level of disrespect, damaging, unwarranted removal of monuments, statues, and plaques, etc. So there's been an ongoing interest in trying to figure out how do we hold together the history of these individual locations, starting with New York and Washington and even Denver and Pueblo, where I'm from. How do we keep track of all of these monuments and statues and plaques, etc.? So we've developed and initiated international. It's an international aspect. We're going to start with the United States, but we're going to onion skin it out to the rest of the world, called the International Italian Heritage Coalition Network. And it's a simple phrase to provide a way for anybody that has a particular important statue or monument or heritage event that they want to capture and have registered on a worldwide registry. That's what this idea came from. And I'd like to tell you it's my idea alone, but it's not. And Andre and I have been talking about this for a little over a year. And we've been talking about that with other organizations. So I want to introduce this idea to you. Right now, it's being managed under the Colorado Italian American Foundation. We're a nonprofit, but ultimately we want to extend it out and have it stand on its own. So for the right now, the Italian Heritage Coalition Network, IHCN, is currently being held and managed under the coiaf.org website. Andre, I don't know if you feel comfortable doing so, but if you want to maybe just share your screen, bring up the website. And I want to warn everybody ahead of time. This progress is literally in work. We're working extremely hard to try to get this done by the 4th of July for the 250th anniversary of the nation. And for Colorado, it's the 150th anniversary for Colorado. Many of you know Colorado was the first state in the union that recognized Columbus Day after it was initiated in Washington. So I do want to, Andre, again, if you bring up the main page, and then we'll talk a little bit about how we want to try to recognize that there's a lot more. We have Italian Heritage Month in October, of course, but there's a lot more than 31 Italian celebrities and personalities historically that have had an impact on our heritage and culture. So as you go down each day, this page will change. And today on June the 23rd is Giuseppe Garibaldi. Many of you, obviously in New York particularly, are intimately aware of his activities. We don't want this to just be something that we do only in October or maybe even only on Columbus Day. We think that our heritage and culture is warranted to be recognized every day of every year. So this is part and parcel to it. Now you'll probably be able to recognize the kind of the layout here. There's also some links over here for events. Go up just a little bit, Andre. There's events, restaurants. I apologize. Go down just a smidge to go to those icons right there. So we've got events and restaurants. We've got monuments and statutes, and then we've got the Heritage Minute, which is Giuseppe Garibaldi here. And then the IHCN is where you, if you would like to consider having your statue, monument, your activity being memorialized in an international registry, come and click on that. Not everything on the site works right now, but again, this is actively being developed so that it's fully operational by the 4th of July. And Andre, I won't take too much more time. I just want to let you guys know that every time we get together, we talk about these issues that have been a negative impact. We don't want to just exist on negative aspects. We're not victims here. Nobody here is a victim. We've got an incredible Italian heritage and culture. We want to have a way to keep hold of it and put it together in something that we can easily pass on to the next generations. And we think that the IHCN is it's probably not the end all, but maybe it's a good starting place. And we'd like to invite everybody here on the call to maybe consider registering on that site for it.
Well, Jerry, the thing that I'm most excited about, because it's something that we spoke about, is having this registry of all the Columbus statues, monuments, plaques, anything that's related to Columbus, because I've been asked that question a number of times in my interviews, and Frank Cipolla even knows this, that people have said to me, well, where are these statues? What are you, so I think having a full registry is just the best thing we could do. And, I could see different ways that you could have it located on a map, and people, as they're traveling, can know where there's different Columbus monuments. So I think it's a great resource. Italian American One Voice Coalition just registered today. We're going to start submitting those places that we know of right now. Anybody else can register at that. I will put out the information on our follow-up email to everyone about what the website it is and how you can register at IHCN. But certainly, if you know of any statue or monument or even plaque or anything related to Columbus, put it on there so we can develop this international
Particularly,
registry.
Andre, if they've been damaged or removed.
Exactly.
We want to make sure that whoever that organization or that community that had one of those monuments or statues or something, if they can either put, even vintage photos and a storyline behind it, now we've got an ability to kind of keep hold of that heritage, even though it's been decimated by, stupid political activity. So that's really what the driving force was. And then obviously we've got a lot of activities that are going on. So the events activity were kind of like the second level. The events and markets and restaurants, those are kind of the ease of use. But since it's all kind of consolidated and oriented to Italian heritage and culture, we thought that maybe that would be a nice open door to the rest of our culture.
Great. I'm glad you put it together, Jerry, after we've been talking about it for so long. You put the effort there. It's looking good. There are a couple of links that need to be fixed on there, as I saw, but as you said, it's a work in progress. It just started actually today with me. It started for me to register today, but Jerry and his group have been working on it for a long time. So let's try to get all these statues and things registered as he spoke about. Well, we actually violated the IBM rule. We're a minute over. An hour, but that's okay. Jerry, did you want to say something else?
No. I said we're a minute over.
Yeah, thank you. But it was worth it. I really appreciate the chief's presentation today. We learned a lot, and glad that everybody's here. I appreciate continuing this alliance that we're working on between Italian Americans across the country and Native Americans, and let's keep it going. We're going to continue to have good guest speakers. I thank all of our past guest speakers, and I thank our chief for today. And Jerry, you had your hand up.
Andre, let me just say, the other aspect here, because we've got the NAGA reps on the call, I want to let you know that the structure of this IHCN could very easily be adopted for all things Indian and in Indian heritage and culture related. It's the same structure, it's just a different I. So give that some consideration. And if there's an interest from anyone from NAGA, Eunice, if there's an interest in maybe looking at something like this for all of your activities, give me a call and I can certainly describe the architecture and then maybe even work with somebody on your team to develop that for the Indian heritage as well. I think it's incredibly important that we don't lose sight of our past while we keep moving forward. That's the takeaway.
Right. I agree, Jerry. I definitely, I want to reach out to you about that. And I did get your text today. I'm sorry. I had a real busy day. I'll answer you though. Okay.
All right. Thanks again, Andre.
Thanks.
Sure. No problem.
Thanks, Andre.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.